very happy Easter to those of you who are celebrating it, and we'd like to welcome you. We'd like to welcome you very, very much to this, the 2022 Yenişehir Europe Triathlon Cup. As you can see, the athletes are lined up, one after the other. They're going to be presented, and we'll just run through the list for you very quickly to show you who is who. Wearing number 1 there, we have from Poland, this is Roxana Słupek. Just going through there, number 2 is Ksenia Lewkowska. She's racing under the ITU World Triathlon flag as she moves from Azerbaijan back to her native Ukraine. Wearing number 3 from Slovakia is Romana Gajdosova. Number 4 from Switzerland is Nora Gmür. Number 5 from Germany will be Tanja Neubert. I think that's number 5, or that's number 4 in fact in front of us now. That's Nora Gmür from Switzerland. Sorry for the voice, folks. I've managed to avoid COVID for 2.5 years, but unfortunately it struck me now, so I'm sitting isolated in our kitchen in the south of England watching this production delivered to us by the Yenisehir TV and Media Atölyesi as we can follow the race. So Nora Gmür, number 4 from Switzerland. Tanja Neubert from Germany wearing number 5. Sarah Vilic from Austria wearing number 6. Number 7 is Tanja Strohschneider, also from Austria. Number 8 from Hungary is Noemi Szorzegi. Number 9 from Ukraine, Marina Kurik. Watch for her in the swim, she's quite fast. She may be at the front end of the race there as they come out of the water. Number 10 from Germany, Bianca Borgen. Number 11 from Poland. I think we've just raced ahead there. This is number 9. That was number 10. That was Bianca Borgen. This is Marta Łagownik from Poland, wearing number 11. Number 12 is Marit van den Berg from the Netherlands. Number 14 from Austria, Magdalena Früh. From Uzbekistan we have Alina Kakimova. Number 16 we'll see is Sofia Prima from Ukraine. Supremely strong off-road, but she mixes and matches the off-road racing with the circuit of the European Cups. Number 17, Magdalena Sudak, also from Poland. Number 18 from Portugal is Madalena Amaral Almeida. Ring number 19 from Ukraine is Darina Moskalenko. Number 20 from Germany is Finja Schiel. Number 21 there, just about to line up, is from Ukraine, and that's Margarita Krylova. Number 22 from Portugal, Inês Oliveira. 23 from Ireland. Number 24, all the way from Australia, Alicia Wesley. From Switzerland is Jasmine Weber. Number 26 there is from Hungary, and that's Dorka Putnocki. 27 from Croatia, Ivana Granosha. 28 from Kazakhstan is Daria Pichkova. 29, Shannon Kelly from Ireland. Number 30 is Mikaela Szczerbova from the Czech Republic. Number 31, Zuzana Sudak from Poland. Number 32 is Monika Bartol from Slovenia. Number 33 there is Izzy Morris from Great Britain. Number 34, Ronnie Zavlik from Israel. Number 35, Teresa Moser from Austria. Number 36 is Natalia Zich from Poland. I'm afraid number 37 has had to drop out. That was Monika Dobrovolska from Ukraine, but number 38 will be there. That's Varvara Mukina, also from Ukraine. Number 39 is Joanna Miranda from Portugal. Sofia Weiler from Germany wears number 40. Laura Polanski from Hungary wears 41. Veronika Horobec from Ukraine wears 42. And Maria Aya, also from Ukraine, wears number 43. As for the races we had yesterday, two really exciting races, completely different competitions. In the junior women's race, we had a fantastic solo performance from Marti Kropko from Hungary. She led from the moment they left the start on the beach. Powerful swimming took her out of the water about 50 seconds ahead of the chasing group. She then had a solo ride around the 3 laps of the bike course to run home for a stunning victory. That was in the women's race. In the men's race, we also saw a very exciting race with 4 athletes racing for the line, only 3 getting the medals, of course, and the gold went to our athlete all the way from Latvia, Artur Liepa. You can watch both of those races if you go to the Yenişehir Triathlon Facebook page. They've actually captured the videos. You can follow them there. I dare say you're watching this now either on the World Triathlon Profile portal or on the Europe Triathlon portal. So the athletes have started. We have the beach here is very nice. It's a sloping, sandy beach. The first few meters, though, obviously you can see the athletes wading and using a dolphin stroke to get into deeper water. But it's going to be a 1-lap, 750-meter swim. The first buoy they come towards is about 340 meters from the beach. Now, hopefully we'll get a message back from the team as to whether there's been a clean start. Absolutely different conditions from yesterday. You can see there's a high pressure in there at the moment. The water is very flat. There's no wind and no tide. Now, the technical officials coming back off the swim start. You can see the very tall official there. That's Sasha Kochetkov. He's the head referee from Lithuania. And the guy wearing the orange vest is John Petridis. He's from United Kingdom, and he is the technical delegate. The assistant technical delegate is a Turkish official from, well, he's actually based in France. That's Aytug Akar. So they are the technical team with a group of Turkish officials who will be monitoring the race to make sure everything is fair and safe. As you can see, there are officials out on the boats, on the water, with cameras to make sure that the swim behaviour amongst the athletes is acceptable. Any penalty that is given will be given only if they can demonstrate, using the video cameras they've got on the kayaks and on the boats, that there's been an infringement. This has come from the athletes over the years who have complained in some races that it's been a bit too violent, so the officials will now look very carefully at the behaviour. It's obvious that there's always going to be a moment in a swim when some arms get tangled together, some feet kick out hard and whatever, but that's acceptable, that's understandable. What we want to try and educate the athletes away from is the unnecessary contact. So they'll be looking very carefully to see just what happens. In the race, what are we going to look at for a potential podium? Well, at the moment, wearing number 1 there, from Poland, Roxana Swoupek. She had a silver medal back in 2018 at the European Cup in Alanya, so good memories from Turkey, but her performances last year on the World Cup circuit, racing at the next level up, she had very solid 4th and 5th finishes in the World Cup in Hyundai and Tongyong. In fact, in Hyundai, she posted the 4th fastest run, and that's behind Beth Potter from Great Britain and Sandra Daudet from France, both of whom are extremely powerful runners. So for her to have a result like that, Roxana Swoupek from Poland, wearing number 1, she's likely to have a good chance to get onto the podium. Wearing the World Triathlon flag at the moment, Ksenia Levkovska from Ukraine, she's got a potential as well. She's been training for the last few months and living, in fact, in Turkey, along with all the other Ukrainian athletes who are based there for the winter training camp. And of course, the situation in Ukraine has become absolutely terrible. But the whole triathlon community has got together, well, more or less the whole community, and have been giving great support to the athletes to enable them to continue their stay there. So a big team from Ukraine, in fact 7 athletes racing in the elite women. We may see a podium position for Ksenia Levkovska. Watch out for some of the younger athletes, because this younger athletes, we've got a very good range here actually. And it's going to be what, 6 or 7 in front. They're strung out as they go around the first way. You see the kayak there, the yellow line on it, very carefully monitoring the turn. The boat with the white shirt, you can see that's monitoring the swim behavior. And as they round the buoy, right in front of us we can see the Red Bull buoy. The athletes were advised that they could swim past that on either the left or the right hand side. There wasn't going to be a restriction, but that is a sighting buoy, so from there to the swim exit, the athletes will be taking the advantage of using that buoy to get all the way down to the swim exit. The course here has been extremely well designed. We do take our hats off to the organisers. They've worked very closely with John Petrides, who has ensured that the best possible course can be delivered. In fact, when we spoke to John before the race, he said originally they had tried to have a 4-lap bike course. The trouble with that is you have short laps and you've got very powerful riders. They could very well catch up with and overtake some of the slower riders, which we don't want to happen, of course. So by extending the course, John was able, working with the organisers from Yenisehir Triathlon, to extend that distance and make it a 3-lap course. This race is also part of a development program, and we're lucky that the development coordinator for Europe Triathlon, Jelko Bijuk, he's present at the race. In fact, he's also representing the executive board of Europe Triathlon. It would have been the president, Renato Bertrandi, so unfortunately, Renato had a very bad accident cutting down a tree. He's now ended up with a broken leg, and he's very frustrated at home, we know, watching these events live and being unable to be there. So from all of us, Renato, we hope you have a very speedy and full recovery. It's a shame you can't be there, but you know that with Jelko, things are in good hands. And for him, with his development committee, they'll be looking very carefully at how this event has grown. It's the first time we've had the race here in Yenisehir. He'll be looking at the organisers. He'll also be looking at the athletes and coaches, just to see how well this has all been put together. The course, the swim, is in absolutely perfect water. The quality of the water has been tested rigorously leading up to the race, and we know just how good the water is. The quality has been very well monitored. The exit from the swim up to the transition area is also beautifully marked, clearly covered with carpet for people, for the athletes. In fact, I'll just read you a few words that came from Marty Kropko, the winner from yesterday. I think it was one of the best organised races I've ever raced. It wasn't just a gorgeous course, it was really welcoming, how the people treated the athletes, how they were cheering. I liked every part of the course. For the swim, the water was very clear. It was easy to see through the water. The ramps coming out of the swim were not slippery, as it was covered by a very good carpet. The transition was amazing. We had enough space for all of our equipment. Like I said, the bike course was gorgeous, and the organisers were doing a great job keeping the crowd away from the road. It was the same for the run course. So that's from the athlete who raced yesterday and won the gold medal. Now we can see now the final stages of the swim. We can pick out, hopefully as they come out of the water, we'll pick out some of the athletes' numbers. As they come out of the water, they'll have a run leading them up into transition. They'll then run right into the transition area where they'll grab the bikes, having of course put their wetsuits and equipment into the boxes, helmet on, grab the bike, off they go. It's a run up onto the road, and the mount line is situated on the road itself. As you can see, the wetsuits are being worn. There was a bit of a gamble. We weren't sure whether there was going to be a wetsuit swim or not, because day before yesterday, the water temperature was 19.6, and the air temperature on the Friday was 26 or so degrees. So it looked as if it might well be a non-wetsuit swim. However, the weather conditions have changed somewhat. We've got a bit of mist coming down over the sea, and the water temperature is under 20 degrees. So that means that the athletes will in fact be allowed to wear their wetsuits. And let's just see who is coming out of the water first. Number 6. So that will be Sarah Village from Austria, leading them out of the water. An Olympian herself, Sarah Village was the under-23 world champion when she raced in Beijing in the Aquathon Championships. So watch out for Sarah Village as she gets out into the transition area. Sarah Village wearing number 6 from Austria, leading them into transition. The wetsuits are partially down, running now up to the position for the bike. All of the equipment has to go into the box. Any equipment that's discarded outside the box is likely to attract a penalty. As you can see, the branding and the build around this event is really, really impressive. And the racking, look at this. This is Olympic racking, single individual bike racks, really well constructed. The Turkish Triathlon Federation have put so much into this event. And we said as well, watch out for Marina Kirik from Ukraine. She was going to be in the top group coming out of the swim. She's done exactly that. A beautiful, wide, spacious transition area there. That looks like McConnell from Ireland just going out on the tail end of that lead group. Now, race referee having a quick run through transition to make sure that equipment has been properly stored. If there are any penalties, this is a sprint distance race. Penalties will attract a 10-second penalty. Beyond that arch, you can see there's a Red Bull arch, and to the left of that, a little bit further up, is a tree, or roughly at that tree is the penalty box. And the athletes will serve the penalty at any point on the run course. Now this looks like one of the Dutch athletes that could be Marit van den Berg, who's out leading the bike now. Unfortunately, my monitor doesn't show very clearly who the athletes are, but that uniform looks like it could well be one of the Dutch uniforms. You can see now clearly the carpeting takes the athletes up. There's a slight ramp onto the road, and now the bike course is an anti-clockwise bike course, taking them all the way along the seafront. It's dead flat. The surface, we heard from Artus Liepa, that the surface that he rode on yesterday, it was absolutely perfectly clear, good asphalt. In fact, that's Dorka Pudnotski there wearing number 26, doing some work at the front end, and that could well be race number 1, Roxana Swupek, looking over her shoulder and encouraging Sarah Village to work with her. In the women's race yesterday, it was a completely solo effort from Marti Kropko, she was on her own throughout the entire ride. In the men's race, we saw a group of about 8 athletes getting together, and Artur Zliepa was doing his very best to coordinate people, to get them to work hard, to chain gang, one after the other, taking an opportunity to ride at the front, 10 seconds of hard riding, drop back, let the next person go into the lead. It didn't quite come together, and you could see his frustration yesterday when the other athletes simply weren't working with him. However, that group of 8 was able to pull away from the chasing athletes, and they dropped one. It was João Batista from Portugal who skidded out on one of the turns, leaving them down to 7. So the 7 had broken away from the main pack. Here we have the 5 athletes at the front of the race. If these 5 athletes can work together, and if they can build up that lead, then they will take the advantage as they go through to T1. So we're looking at the moment at Dorka Putnotski, certainly in there. We've seen Sarah Village from Austria. We've got one of the German athletes, and let's see if we can just pick out the number. And that leading group of 5 have really got a small lead over the group. We're looking at the second group, which is a lot larger now. This second group will be working hard to try and bridge that gap and try and attack and pull up to the leaders. At the far end of this course is a very, it's a complete U-turn. It cuts through the central boulevard to come back on the other side. Now that's an opportunity where the leading group may well choose to push hard and try and build up an attack. Here we come into the turn now. Let's see if they can push hard out of this turn and build on that lead. Equally, the chasing group, rather more difficult for a large group of athletes to get round. That second group is going to be trying to push as well. It's going to be interesting to see 3 laps how this turn is going to be an advantage to the leaders. As they come along the seafront now, going back towards transition, at some point they're going to turn right. There's a small dogleg that will take them about 150 meters up away from the course, and then another U-turn to bring them down. And it was on the descent from that U-turn that we saw one of the Portuguese athletes skid out yesterday. The road surface is very, very flat, but it's very hot. 26 degrees out there. The road surface may be a little bit shiny for some of them. In fact, it looks as if that chasing group is now building up the pace, and it could well be that within the next couple of 100 meters, we're going to see that chasing group catch up to the leaders, and the early work that they've done is all going to go. So we do need to, lovely to see this group coordinate a bit better and try and push harder to build up the lead. But if only Swoopek had been able to command them and got them working together, they could have done that. But no, it looks now from the overhead shot that leading group has now been caught and is now part of the main peloton. So we've got, what about 12, 13 or 14 athletes there in the leading group. We had some interesting moments yesterday with the drone shots, because as the drones went up, the birds were following the drone. So if you do see any overhead shots and you get a bit of interest from the local wildlife, it's the birds following the drones. Here we have now the group all together now, the leaders. Yep, the first and second group all together now. Very soon we'll see them turning off to the right. And this is where, of course, we have to be a bit more cautious in the group, because the slightest error will take 1 or 2 or 3 athletes down. We did see in the women's race, it was like a kiss of wheels, and one of the athletes disappeared off the course. That was simply that one athlete got so very close to the other. In the men's race, we believe that it was a slippery section on the road where the athlete went a little bit too fast on the turn coming out of the dogleg area and lost that opportunity of carrying on with the leading group. So Yenişehir, where is it? It's on the coast, of course. You can see this. Very similar bike course to what you would find in Alanya, and it's towards the eastern part of Germany. There are two Yenishehirs in Turkey, in fact. Don't get them mixed up. This is the one down right close to Mersin. And as you can see, what a venue. It's not somewhere that we've seen before. It's the first time that we've had this on the European calendar. It's an event that has been around for a few years for the Turks who've used this as a wonderful venue. Hotels all over the place, superb beach, wonderful quality of water, and the ability from the municipality to close down the roads completely. There's a traffic management system they've put in here which is truly remarkable. This whole section of bike course, it's about 6.6 kilometers per lap. They've completely closed it down. And here we go, the turning round. Look at the crowds, wonderful. The atmosphere on the course must be truly, truly remarkable. So they're going to head up here, and there's a complete turn at the end that will bring them back down onto the boulevard. There's a coaching position right at the bottom of there, where the coaches can stand in the middle of the boulevard. There's a green section there where they can give out their commands to the athletes, give the time splits, and give their advice. So coming back down with, I think that's Roxana Svupek. I think it's her, or it could be Nora Gmür. Successfully negotiating that right-hand turn. Lots and lots of spectators out today. There was a good crowd yesterday, but I think probably the word has got around and the event is here and everybody's coming out to support the elite women. We've had 3 European Cups so far this year. We've had Liévin in France, which was it was really, really amazing. It was the indoor event. They built a swimming pool inside an arena. If you want to see something spectacular, then put Liévin Triathlon into a search engine, find it on YouTube, turn on the music, turn it up loud and enjoy it. It's absolutely incredible. Then we had Quatera. Quatera was a very successful event. In fact, last year they had the Junior World Championships there. That was on the 26th of March. Then we had Melilla. Melilla, lovely location, tucked away on the North African coast. And that was the third of our races. We've just had confirmation that the water temperature was in fact 17.9 degrees. So it's dropped quite considerably in the last couple of days. That's why the wetsuits are being worn. So that's a big thank you to John Petridis, our technical delegate, who's just found a bit of time to let us know that the water temperature was 17.9. So tucked into that group there, we saw a couple of our German athletes. We think that's Tanja Neubert and Bianca Borgen. Bianca Borgen was a gold medal winner in Sharm el-Sheikh at the Sprint Championships back in 2019. It's funny, we keep looking at the statistics and the medals, and of course there's this great big gap in the history due to COVID. But World Triathlon, working with the World Health Organization and with the various confederations around the world, including Europe Triathlon, I have to say that Europe Triathlon has led the way here. There have been a series of races held on the within the European region that have been really, really tightly controlled with all the COVID protocols put in place. If we look back to probably one of the first big events, that was in Arzachena in Sardinia, where the Italian Federation did a truly amazing job offering a great race to the athletes, but also managing it within the COVID protocols and restrictions. So that's been developed. Each time there's a race, there's a meeting afterwards to analyze where things went right and to build upon that and make sure that the athlete's safety and that, of course, of the officials and anybody at the event is paramount. So coming now to this position where restrictions are being relaxed around the world, there are still very strict protocols in place. If you want to see, if you have any interest in this, of course, go to the event website on the Europe Triathlon page and you'll find some of the documents that relate to the management of COVID protocols. So there we have Bianca Borgen coming out of the swim first with Romana Gajdosova from Slovakia. That's good. Nora Gmür, Switzerland. So those are our leaders coming out. Good position there for Izzy Morris from Great Britain. So we saw the athletes just riding past the exit from transition there. That was the blue mark, the carpeting on the ground. The weather conditions, it's warm out there, but it looks a little bit grim compared to yesterday. We really had the best weather yesterday for the junior men and junior women. Now within that group, we also think that we've got Austria's Magdalena Früh. She was the overall champion in Austria 2018-2019 over this distance, the sprint, and she's moving up now from the junior ranks into the elite. But we can see there the Polish athlete looking over her shoulder saying, come on, we need a bit of work here, we need something to happen. That's Marta Łagownik. Good. This is a good position for her. Marta Łagownik, silver medal winner in Aqaba 2019 and in Agadir. Excuse me. She certainly has a great run pedigree. So Marta Łagownik in a great position there. If it goes down to the run, she's somebody that will certainly push the pace. Her background is as a runner, and it's good to see her so well placed in the bike pack here. So this is turning into a race that we really have no idea who's going to take onto the, get onto the podium, simply because we've got so many of the athletes together. Good to see there that in that group we've got Alicia Wesley, all the way from Australia. We've got two Australians racing in the elite women and elite men's race. So Alicia Wesley, her first international race was in Holten in the Netherlands when she raced as a junior. So that's good to see her coming back to Europe. She was in Quatera, a good experience for her, but it's a long way from home. And of course, everything here is a bit different. She did make a comment on her blog about how racing in Europe was so good. We found that over the years. If you turn the clock way, way, way back, Europe Triathlon has been around for a long, long time. And the races in Europe got quite a good reputation. So we'd see athletes from Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the US make their way over to Europe. They would get together, they'd buy themselves a van or some large car. They'd travel around the races from event to event, where they were being paid cash in the prize money. They got the experience of racing at the highest level that was available at the time. The organisers were putting on better and better events, although if we look back at them now, well, we would be terrified. But looking at them then, the build-up around Europe of events made it such a mecca to come to for athletes. And it's great to see Australians coming up to Europe to race on the European circuit. We've had Australians on the podium, we've had Americans, we've had New Zealanders, and it's wonderful to see this mix. So we've got 21 athletes there in that lead group. 21. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Are they going to keep the pace up? Are they going to try and drop a few? Will there be a few attacks off the front just to test the pace? Hopefully there aren't going to be any spills, because a pack of 21 on these fairly tight turns, they are dead turns really. Although the organisers have used the widest part of the street on each occasion, at the far turn, at the top turn, and at the western turn, there is always that worry that it could in fact result in a bit of a slip. So Nora Gmür, there she is, leading the group again, wearing number 4. She was in a junior category. She won the silver medal when we had the European Championships in Weert in the Netherlands. And she also won a silver back in Melilla. In Melilla, the bike course is not dissimilar to this. So a silver in 2019 in both those events. That's a really large peloton of 21 athletes there. But once again, a big thank you to the media team there. They've got 8 cameras out on the course, 2 drones. They've got a production team somewhere at the venue, I don't know where, but they're mixing these images together. They did it for the juniors. They're doing it for the elite. But they also did it for the age groupers yesterday and this morning, and the para-athletes. So this morning we saw the standard distance race with full TV coverage. Wonderful. And in that race, the president of Turkish Triathlon, Mr. Bayram Yalçınkaya, he took part in the race and was there after the race to then present the medals to some of the athletes. Here we see that magnificent turn. That's a good picture there as they sweep up the road, turn and come back. This looks a little bit like the Quartera race, but the Quartera event has a huge hill, and this is just a very, very small incline. But it's quite disruptive to the athletes because you have this break where it's a dead turn. We haven't seen any attacks. We haven't seen anybody disappearing off the back. It's a fairly tight group of the 21 athletes there. And it was at this point coming down that one of the Portuguese athletes lost his wheels yesterday and sadly ended up out of the race. And you can see the athletes now spreading out, but now coming back together. And to the left you can see the main race venue. So that looks as if it might be, I think Noemi Shorzegi is in there from Hungary, an under-23 gold medal winner in Sharm el-Sheikh at the Pan-African Championships. Here's that turn right at the end of the course. As you can see, Yenisehir, it really has, the municipality have invested an awful lot of money here. It looks like a wonderful venue, and we were saying yesterday how much we would like to go and visit just to see the race. Also, triathlon is about racing, but it's about having a good time, and we saw these age group races yesterday in the sprint and the age group race this morning with the standard distance. When we have the European Cups around Europe, the European Cup takes place for the elite, but there's also an open event. So why don't you make a date in your diary and come out to one of these events and enjoy their open race? You're racing on that. You have a blue carpet finish, and a transition area that's fully set up. Now, I think that was number 16 there we saw. That would probably be, is it? Yes, that was Sofia Prima. This is the athlete we said was so very strong on the off-road racing. Multiple European champion on the off-road circuit, and now moving up into the elite category. Her last podium was a bronze medal in the 2021 Europe Triathlon Xterra Cross Duathlon Championships, high up in the Dolomites. That was at the end of the year last year. Now this is moving at some pace. You can see that nobody's taking it easy there. There's a lot of work. Sarah Village just on the left there with the red uniform from Austria. I think Nora Gemur from Switzerland is putting an awful lot of work in at the front end of that group. Evidently, it's safer to be at the front end because anybody, a kiss of wheels happening in that pack, and you're at the back, that's going to be not a very good place to be. So Tanja Neubert wearing number 5 there, trying to get some control at the front of the race. She was a gold medal winner in the African Cup in Hammamet last year. And there we see that Marina Kurik, this is the one we said, she's a very good swimmer, and she's doing quite well in this bike section at the moment. She's a bit of command and control there, saying, come on guys, come on, let's move up, let's share the work at the front. Marina Kurik just missing out on the podium late last year at the Asia Cup in Tashkent and in the African Cup in Dakar, just missing the podium. A breakaway now from one of our German riders. Who is this? Which one is it? Is it Bianca Borgen? Has she decided that enough is enough? Let's push the pace and see what we can do. Now the camera will bring us closer, and if my monitor will let me see, now she's being joined by Prima and Kurik, who've edged in front of her. So that attack was just to test them a little bit to see how things were going. Coming up very soon now to the turn. As you can see, the course is absolutely pan flat. The athletes were saying yesterday in the post-race interviews with the junior men how fast the course was. It was a very, very fast, very good course to ride. The best asphalt they'd raced on for a long time. The turn coming now, 21 athletes trying to get round there in one piece, trying desperately not to lose control of the bikes, and now heading back towards the transition area. So it's a very simple bike course, out and back, all the way east, all the way west, 3 laps to bring them up to the 20 kilometers. In our race yesterday, we had 20 junior women with representing 9 nations. We had 38 junior men representing 14 nations. Today, in our elite women's race, we have 41 athletes representing 19 nations. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest team is from Ukraine, 7 athletes, and the next biggest team from Poland is with 5 athletes. So yes, that is Tanja Neubert. Tanja Neubert wearing number 5. Many of these athletes will already have signed up for the next race in the season. The next race will be in Caorle in Italy, just a little bit further east from Venice. And the course is very similar. What they've decided to do, the organisers are producing 3 days of racing there, and it will be 3 days of racing for the elite first. There'll be races for the juniors, but then on the Sunday, they're organising something very special. It's going to be a mixed relay with the under-23 athletes and the juniors together in the mixed team relay. And they've decided that they will also mix and match nationalities. If there's one team that doesn't quite have enough athletes, then teams from different federations can join together to make it really a wonderful racing experience. And this race, taking place on the 13th to the 15th of May, is an ideal opportunity for athletes to then practice those skills just ahead of the big race that's going to be taking place in Olsztyn, which is the European Championships. So watch out for the next 2 races on the calendar. That will be Caorle in May and Olsztyn at the end of May. Here we see Alicia Wellesley. They're taking the pace at the front. Good to see her pushing the pace there. And check out her blog online. She's quite active, writing about her experiences racing for triathlon. As we said, a silver medal winner. She was a silver medal winner earlier this year at the Asia Triathlon Duathlon Championships in Manama. So watch for her pace off the bike. Tanja Neubert once again taking the lead. This is some good riding. The pace is very, very good here. They're not letting up at all. There doesn't appear to be much command in there, but they're certainly each working hard. There doesn't appear to be anybody taking it easy. Now that big sweeping turn away from the course up to the dead turn. It's an inland route. And as you can see, the traffic management control is so good. The city has a little bit of disruption because the seafront's closed, but it's only closed for 2 days, and the traffic management has taken all of the city movement away from there, making it safe for the athletes, but not interfering too much with the day-to-day life of everybody in the city of Yenişehir. What a magnificent view that is. And you can see the athletes are really enjoying the pace. This is the surface. The road surface is completely different to that in Alanya. We hear from Alanya that the cobblestones, the block paving, is always a bit of an experience for them, and something they're not particularly happy with. But this surface here is so flat, so fast. Now they're coming up to that turn at the far western end. All 21 athletes successfully negotiating that turn. A bit of attack now coming on. Now we've got 3 Portuguese athletes today. We've got Madalena Amaral Almeida, Ines Oliveira, and Joana Miranda. Of them, I think that was number 18. That was Madalena Amaral Almeida. Now we can see the athletes making those adjustments, getting the feet out of the shoes, ready for the dismount, and getting into a position where they're not going to be interfered with, where there's nobody in front of them to slow their journey into transition. Yep, I was right there. That was Almeida and Miranda. Nora Gemur leading them in. The officials will be looking very carefully at the dismount and also the racking of the bike and the helmet into the box. So Madalena Amaral Almeida there, heading out ring number 18, but who's going to lead them out, I wonder? Nora Gemur, I can see her there in about second or third position. And that running stride there, I think that is Marta Wagownik from Poland, just disappearing under the tree. The run course is a clockwise course. They run out on the blue and they come back on the white side. So it's a clockwise 2-lap course. There's a drink station on the course. They can access it from both sides. And it is absolutely dead flat. As you can see, what a beautifully laid out course this is. The organisers, by taking the run onto this section, have also avoided the problem we see in some races where you have a first runner, last biker scenario. This way, there's absolutely no interference at all. So it's a wonderfully laid out course. Really a great opportunity for development races to take place. So as they disappear into the distance there, we've got a group of about 6 leading the race. Hopefully we'll get down to race level just to see who is in the leading group. And as soon as the studio takes us down, we can try and see what's happening out on the run course. Don't forget, you can follow the event as you are at the moment, watching it live. You can also go to the Triathlon Yenişehir Facebook page, where they've got all sorts of photographs and interviews, and of course you'll be able to see these races once more on that page. So, Nora Gmür is there. I think that's Neubert and Borgen with them, and who else is there with them? Sarah Village. So, that's interesting. That's very interesting. We've got from Slovakia, Romana Gajdošová. So she's having a fantastic run at the moment. Wearing number 3 there. Good position for her. Under 23 champion back in 2017 for Aquathlon. Her race in Turkey last year on a very similar course placed her 4th, just missing out on the medals. So Gmür from Switzerland, Gajdošová from Slovakia. I'm trying to pick out the 2 German athletes and the Polish athlete. The 5 of them. The pace is good. And I think that was Finja Schiel from Germany wearing number 20. That's a very good performance from her. This is one of her earlier races. She's doing very well. Finja Schiel from Germany wearing number 20. Which of the Polish athletes is that? Is that Roxana Słupek? It doesn't look like Marta Wagovnik racing there. It looks as if it could be Roxana Słupek. We've just received an update from the race that a penalty has been issued to 2 athletes. One is to athlete number 34, that's Ronnie Zablik from Israel. She had an early start from the swim, so she had a 10-second penalty in T1. And athlete number 21, we saw that right at the very start of the race when an athlete was standing to the side of her rack fastening her helmet, and that was Margarita Krylova. She took the bike and the helmet was either not fastened properly or the helmet had come undone. So that was 2 penalties that were being issued so far. But on the run course now, this is Romana Gajdošová. She's really pushed well. She's broken away now from the group and she's having a superb run. The 4 behind her are now having to play catch up. But is she going to keep this pace up for the whole 5K? It's going to be interesting to see. It's a very fast run course, very flat, but nowhere to hide. So Gajdošová leading the race now. with about just under 3 kilometers to go. It looks like she's going to upgrade that 4th place in Balıkesir last year to a podium finish here in Yenişehir. She's striding very well, looking very relaxed on that. So the organisers, if you just look at this branding, they have really invested very heavily in the event. They've made the very most of it. It's a European Cup, the elite are racing, the juniors are racing, but they've then built onto this sprint races for the age groupers and the para-athletes, and a standard race for the athletes. This is Maria Aha. She was one of the last athletes coming into transition, wearing number, what number is she wearing? She's wearing number 43. Not the race that she would have wanted. She's able to do an awful lot more than that. She was a silver medal last year in Dnipro on a very similar course. So, Gajdosova in the lead, Gümür in 2nd place, Roxana Swupek, she comes up now. So that lead at the moment, we have Slovakia leading, chased by Switzerland and chased by Poland. And those are your podium positions just at the moment, but there's that threat from the 2 German athletes who will possibly be able to disrupt that leading group. As you can see, that black tent there just under the tree, that's the penalty box, and there's a white board that you might just have seen. That white board will contain the numbers of any athletes and their penalties with a letter. The letter will explain what the penalty is for. So if it's, for example, an equipment penalty, it will have a letter E after it, or if it's a mount or dismount penalty, there'll be a letter D or S. Oh, sorry, a M or D. And the athletes will see this number, see their number, see the letter and the penalty, and they have to go into the penalty box, which is just on the camera there under the tree. From there to the finish is about 200 meters. But here we have at the front of the race now, we still have Slovakia and Romana Gajdosova looking very relaxed, leading the race by about 10-15 meters. This is going to be a good run for her. But behind her, with Nora Gümür and Roxana Swupek, in fact the pace is picking up now, and that, I'm not sure which one that was, but her lead is not secured. The gold is not necessarily in her hands. Wow, look at this. All 3 of them together again. Swupek, Gümür, Gajdosova, and that German athlete who's about to come in and make it 4. Is this Tanja Neubert? I just can't quite make out the name, but Tanja Neubert, if this is her, then she's going to be a tremendous threat to the podium. I think it is, that's Tanja Neubert. As you can see there, that's the swim splits that have gone up. So onto the blue track. This is the blue outwards track. Very soon they'll be turning to loop back on the white side of the course. And when they get to, you can see the penalty box there and the Red Bull arch. They'll run under the Red Bull arch and loop around the back of the transition area for a final run of about 60 meters onto the blue carpet and down to the finish. So, Demure, Swoopek, Neubert and Guido Savar. 4 athletes, just 3 medals. This is Ronnie Zavlik, the Israeli athlete who took a penalty in T1 for a slightly early start. Expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next. The bike splits there. You can see that was a fairly fast bike. It'd be interesting to compare their bike splits with the splits from yesterday. Of course, the coaches from around Europe will be looking at this and seeing where they need to just tighten up their training for the athletes ahead of the racing season, and in particular the European Championships that will be taking place in Olsztyn in Poland, right up in the northern part of Poland. Tanja Neubert looks like she's kicked and she's pulled away from that lead group. Oh, she's making a very early statement. She's got just about a kilometre to go now. That's a very early kick. We saw yesterday that there was some testing of the leading group of 4 athletes in the men's junior race. As they went into the turn, one of the Hungarian athletes appeared to drop back. The Latvian athlete looked as if he was struggling, but then he kicked, and the kick didn't take place quite at this position. The only one about to respond is Swoopek. She's looking carefully with Demure just behind her, but the gold medal at the moment looks to be in the hands of Tanja Neubert from Germany. She really is looking very relaxed on that course, taking her down towards the finish. She will be able to see now the Red Bull arch, and she knows that's a point about 150 meters from the finish. But Swoopek is not letting her go. Swoopek is striding after her. And we know from the end of season performances from Roxana Swoopek from Poland that she can put the pace in. It's just how much work did she do on the bike? Has that taken the energy from her legs? Did she do too much work on the bike? But anyone who can post the 4th fastest run behind such fantastic runners as Beth Potter and Sandra Dode, well, yep, that's Roxana Swoopek. So our 3 medalists look to be set by these 3 athletes here: Neubert, Swoopek and Demure. But Swoopek is not giving up. She's really, really beginning to pull that German athlete towards her. Perhaps that early kick from Tanja Neubert was a little bit too early. Now, no doubt the officials will be getting ready now at the finish line. They'll have radio messages coming back to them to say, we've got a real race on. It looks as if they're getting closer. So Neubert is now, her lead has been cut to only about 3 or 4 meters. And Demure has really, really found something. Demure from Switzerland, look at this. Up onto the shoulders of Swoopek. Is she going to stay there or is she going to push past? Not even the slightest hesitation. She's going past Swoopek. She's looking at Neubert. She's going to be heading towards Neubert soon. The 2 now, Demure and Swoopek, building the pace up and edging ever closer to Tanja Neubert. Well, this is going to be a bit of a race down to the finish. Demure, long strides. Neubert racing upwards, very, very fast turnover of the legs there. Swoopek, quite short, but she's taking long strides. The penalty box is there. We've got less than 200 meters to go now. They get run under the arch. Neubert is still in the lead. It was around about here we started to see the kick between the silver and gold medal winners from yesterday. But Neubert has somewhere found some energy. She's now opening up that lead. She's increased the lead. It's 5 meters at least. She's building the lead. When she turns here, there's about 60 meters to go on the blue carpet. Bears to the left, and the finish line is there. Neubert looks as if she's secured this win. It's going to be a gold medal to Tanja Neubert from Germany. Nora Gemür from Switzerland takes the silver, and Roxana Słupek from Poland takes the bronze. What an outstanding race that was. Tanja Neubert from Germany, the winner today in a fantastic, fantastic race to the line. Well, that was pretty impressive. Romano Gajdosova taking the 4th place there, and I think that was Izzy Morris from Great Britain taking 5th. Well, superb race there. I really enjoyed watching that. The group of 21 athletes on the bike, early bit of work from some of the swim leaders, not quite able to control it, but the 21 of them racing around the 20k bike course to deliver us a sprint finish like that. And the first of our Ukrainian athletes crossing the finish line, I think that was Darina Moskalenko. Indeed, that was Darina Moskalenko wearing number 19. Yep, that was Izzy Morris in 5th place from Great Britain. The officials trying to get the athletes off the finish line and into the recovery lounge. There's a whole range of refreshments. There's an area for them to be nice and cool and relaxed. So, Tanja Neubert, Germany, takes the win there with Nora Gemür, Roxana Słupek. It says the swim results, but in fact that's the overall provisional results at the moment. And from the earlier lead, that was Dorka Budnowski and Marina Kurik from Ukraine. And all part of that early group of 21 athletes. This is, I think this is Alicia Wesley, yep, from Australia. Cooling down there, being shown where the refreshments are. Head referee, that's wearing the blue vest, that's Sasha Kochetkov, the tallest technical official on the circuit in the world. And this is Marta Ragovnik from Poland. Not quite the run that she would have wanted, because her real strength is on the run, and not quite sure what happened there. She came off the bike in a good position, but it didn't quite come together for her. And just behind her was Sophia Weiler from Germany. Our athlete wearing number 40. The medal ceremony for the elite women will be taking place at 1800 Turkish time. So that's 4 o'clock if you're in the UK, 5 o'clock if you're in Europe. But yes, what a great race that was. To see that final sprint, it was a very brave move from Tanja Neubert. She took off just after the final turn with a run of about 1 kilometer to go, and we're going to go now down to the race venue for an interview with one of our medal winners. So over to you guys on the ground.
Congratulations, you came the first. It was a really close finish. How do you feel about the whole race? How do you feel about the finish? Can you tell us about how you feel it?
Yeah, I'm very happy with the race, but it was a tough run, so we were close all the time. And yeah, on the last K, I tried everything I had to win this race, and I'm happy to take my first win in a European Cup here.
Were you expecting such a good result at the end of this race?
Yeah, I hoped to make a podium, but in a triathlon it isn't easy because there are a lot of factors playing in the race, and I tried to have a good swim and not a big gap to the front, and on the bike we worked good together to close this gap, and then I felt good on the second lap on the run, and so I'm very happy.
Yes, we have seen a really big pack going all the way with the bike, also with the run. So how was it in the course? How did you find the course? It was a really close race, so how was the course and the track for you?
Yeah, so the bike course was good for such a big group because the whole road was closed and there was enough space, but sometimes at the turning points it got a little bit stressful, but I tried to stay in the front, and so good event and good course, and
And this was the first elite race in Mersin, and how did you feel about the city and the atmosphere in here?
So it was a good organization and nice people, and everyone was very helpful and friendly. So it was a very good race here.
Congratulations again, and thank you for being with us and winning the race.
Thank you very much.
Well, it was a wonderful interview there from Tanja Neubert. She said everything that I think the organisers could want her to say. We've mentioned yesterday about the hospitality of the Turkish Federation. Turn the clock back a long time. The end of season race used to be in Alanya, and the party was famous for athletes around the world. We had a European Championship there a few years ago, and when the age groupers turned up to the prize giving and the closing banquet, they walked past the entrance because they thought it was a private wedding. It was so grand. It was amazing. They had a banquet here for the athletes on the Friday night. That was the athletes, organisers, officials. Everybody was welcome, and the hospitality that we've seen again and again at the Turkish events has always been so very good. So Tanja Neubert there, hitting all the buttons. A good bike course. The turns were interesting, but it was a good wide bike course and nice and safe. A good event, good course. The city was great. The organisation was wonderful. They were helpful and they were friendly. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. Tanja Neubert from Germany, thank you very much. We're going to go now on to another interview. I'm not sure if it's going to be our silver medal winner or the bronze medal, but back down to the race venue and to our athletes.
Congratulations, you came the second in this race, and at first, how did you feel about the race?
Thank you, and I think the race is really cool. The venue is like amazing, and also I had like a pretty good start into the race, and then I could just sit at the back of the first swim group, and then just like settle pretty well on the bike. But there I tried to stay like really active because of the slippery U-turns, and then on the run it was like so tough with the other girls. But in the end, I'm pretty satisfied with the second place.
The finish was like breathtaking. You were just inside the same minute. And how did you feel when you were coming close to the finish line?
Yeah, I just tried to like run everything I had left, and I'm like I said, I'm really happy that I could finish second.
And were you expecting such a good result when you were coming to Mersin?
I didn't like expect to get second, but I really hoped for a like top 5 result, and like I'm so happy. Yeah.
And where do you see yourself in this year's at the end? Where do you hope to be? Where do you expect to be at the end of this race? At the end of this year?
I like try to get better like every day, and hopefully continue with podiums.
Congratulations again for being the second, and we hope to welcome you again in Mersin.
Thank you. Bye.
And again, a lovely interview there with Nora Gmür from Switzerland. She was the silver medal winner as a junior at the European Championships. She's now moved up a category into the elite, and she takes a silver medal here. Again, hitting all the buttons there for the organizer. A good event, amazing. Mentioning as well that slippery element on the road, that's because it's so very hot and very, very flat asphalt. So it puts in that technical element into the bike. It's not quite as easy as people think. So good supportive comments there from Nora Gmür. A silver medal win here today in Yenişehir.
Congratulations, you came the third in this race. At first, how did you feel about the race?
Thank you so much. I'm so happy. It's my second podium in international racing, so I'm very happy.
And how was it feeling like when you were coming close to the finish? Because it was a really good and fast group coming together and all split up in just one minute. And how did you feel? Did you expect to win?
It felt hard, of course, but yeah, I mean, I didn't have any expectations. I just wanted to go as hard as I can, and of course it's hard for your mind when few athletes are close to each other. But yeah, it's real racing. I like it.
And which part of the race that you liked most, that you liked challenging most? Which part was more demanding?
For me, the most challenging is always swimming, open water swim. So I think that's the thing I'm always the most stressed about. But yeah, you ask about what I like the most also. I like the most running. I think it's like, you know, no crashes. You are just 5 or 10K, and that's all.
And what do you think about the atmosphere here? This is the first time that in Mersin we have this elite race. How did you feel about the atmosphere here?
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It would be nice if bike course is a bit more challenging and yeah, a bit harder. But yeah, I like the place here. It was very nice to be here for a few days.
And one more question, where do you see yourself at the end of the year? Where do you plan or hope to be at the end of the year?
I'm still a development athlete, so I just want to improve step by step. The big challenge for me is, as I said, open water swim to improve, but yeah, not like exact number or place where I want to be. I just want to improve and do everything what I can to be the best, my version of myself.
Congratulations again, and we're really happy to have you here and hope to see you again in Mersin.
Thank you so much.
So, Roxana Słupek, dziękuję bardzo. Wonderful interview there, and interesting. She says that she'd prefer the bike course to be a bit more technical. Yeah, I wonder if the organisers can step up to that. I think what we have at the moment, though, is something that the technical delegate and the organisers are happy with. It's a 3-lap bike course, which is long enough to avoid lapping, and it's fast. The technical bits are those turns. So how we can make it more technical and hilly, it's not going to be possible. What we have, though, is our medal winners, gold, silver and bronze there, with a great race to finish off with the elite women. We have the elite men. They are going to be starting at 16:30 hours, which is 2:30 in the afternoon UK time, 3:30 in the afternoon if you're in Central Europe. We've got a huge lineup for you for the elite men. 70 athletes from 21 countries. We've had a couple of athletes withdrawn. Gorge from Luxembourg wearing number 28, and Tessero from France wearing 36. They've both withdrawn, but we've had 2 additional Ukrainian athletes moved onto the start line wearing numbers 72 and 73. So we're up to the 70 athlete number from 21 nations, and that is going to be your lineup for this afternoon for the elite men. We can see the technical delegate there wearing the orange vest. The red head referee will be now working very closely with the timing team to make sure that all of the results are accurate. Once they've been fully checked by him, and he will look at all the time splits to see that they're okay. He will be making sure that all of the results are correct. And although this says swim results, this is in fact the overall results. These are the provisional results that will be used and hopefully very soon they'll be available on the triathlon.org page. So your top 5 there: Tanya Neubert, Nora Gmür, Roxana Swupek, Romana Gajdosova, and Izzy Morris from Great Britain just creeping into the top 5. Just outside there, Finia Schiel, Darina Moskalenko, Madalena Amaral Almeida, Sara Vilic, and Susanna Sudak. So good positions there. The Polish athletes, look at that. 2 athletes in the top 10. Germany, 2 athletes in the top 10. Good results there. So with those results for you, we'd like you to, if you can, have a look at the results and enjoy working out the splits. As soon as they're ready, they'll be up onto the triathlon.org page. But from me, Paul Groves, and a creaky voice, I'm going to leave you now, and we'll come back to you for the elite men. 70 elite athletes, 21 nations. Be with us later for the 2022 Europe Cup from Yenişehir. Thank you, and see you later.